welcome back to the... Oh, crap. Get this thing out of here. Time to bring in the mini metal. Welcome back to the garage, guys. Today we're introducing the mini metal. It's an all-metal version of our mini platform. Now, this is the first design from JD's Garage that doesn't require any 3D printing. We felt it was important to do that because we work in metal. These machines are made to cut metal. Let's make it out of metal. If you'd like to build a mini metal, we have a link below to a plan package to build one of these mini metals. Within the plans list, you get a detailed parts list. This list contains everything needed to complete the project, right down to the last nut and bolt. There's also links on where to buy all the stuff to complete the projects. We also have a list of the sheet metal parts and drawings for each, and a DXF file for each if you want to cut them out on one of your other JD's Garage machines. The mini metal is assembled similarly to the mini 3D print. The difference being we use metal parts instead of the 3D printed parts. It uses the same aluminum extrusions along with the same T-nuts and hardware combination. Within the assembly instructions, there's a detailed step-by-step sequence on how to assemble and complete the machine. Each step will list the parts needed for that step, the quantity of each, and then it'll show pictures and diagrams of how to complete that step. With these aluminum extrusions, they come pre-cut to length. They're not needed to be cut by you, and they're already pre-drilled where they need to be. There is some tapping required of some of the aluminum extrusion, but the holes are pre-drilled to the right size for the tap. The plans contain one-to-one drawings for all the metal parts that need to be made. If you're making these by hand, you can print this out. It's a one-to-one scale drawing, attach it to the metal, and cut it out with an angle grinder, belt sander, whatever you need. There is also DXF files in the plans to cut them out. Here we're installing the magnets on the four corners of the mini metal. These magnets have a holding force of a combined about 80 pounds. So this helps lock the machine to the metal that you're cutting. The plans come with 3 templates for the electrical box, one for each side and one for the bottom. You're required to drill a few holes in the bottom to attach the control board, and in the ends you need to drill some holes for fan exhaust and for cable entry and exit. Cooling fans and motor cables just simply plug into the appropriate locations on the control board. With the mini metal, we've also added an optional touchscreen that you can use to control the machine. For those of you that have the mini 3D print, this has now been added to your plans as well if you'd like to go back and add this to your machine. The mini metal is a very robust machine. It's very solid. We actually grabbed it and put it on the scale, and it weighed a lot more than we thought. It's actually over 15.5 pounds for the mini metal. Here's a 360 of the mini metal. It's actually sitting on the optional base. If you'd like to build an optional base for the machine, the instructions on how to do this are included in the plans as well. The mini metal base can be used 2 ways. One, you can use it with a larger piece of metal than the base, set the metal on the base, set the machine on top. Or 2, you can use it traditionally, just have the machine attached to the base and use smaller pieces and set it inside on top of the base. During this cut job, we're using the base in the traditional method. We have the mini metal mounted to the base with the magnets, and we just take a smaller piece of metal and set it on the slats and perform the cut job. There's the mini metal. Nice cuts for the white-tailed deer. So how did we get this information to cut out the deer? It was quite simple. First, we found an SVG file online. It's just a black and white image. Second, we imported it into Fusion 360. Once it's in Fusion 360, then we hit manufacture. After we selected manufacture, we need to select the tool. And in this case, we're going to pick plasma cutter. Then we need to select the outlines that we want to cut. After that, the tool paths are created. Now that we've selected the tool paths, we need to run the post processor that actually turns those into G code, and that's what the machine reads. This is what the G code looks like. The final step is getting the G code to the machine. To get the G code to the machine, you generally use a G code sender software or control software. We tend to use Open Build Control, but you can use G Sender, Universal G code sender, or others. They all work for this project. When using a G code sender, you actually need to connect your computer to the CNC Mini. This can be done through a Wi-Fi access point that the controller on the Mini creates, or you can simply plug in a cable from your computer to the Mini. Connecting by cable or Wi-Fi is how all of our machines operate. The Mini has a third method, the touchscreen. You can actually take the G code from your computer, put it on an SD card, carry it out to your shop, plug it into the SD slot on the Mini, and control it from the touchscreen. Your computer no longer needs to go to the shop. You no longer need to connect your computer to it if you do not want to. You can run it solely off the SD card and the touchscreen. So what does it cost to build a Mini Metal? Well, it costs around $250 if you build the base machine. And that price would include that you cutting out and making the metal parts yourself. Obviously, if you buy the metal parts from us, it's going to cost a little more. If you want to add the touchscreen, it's going to add more on top of that. We figure the touchscreen, if you buy it at the time you're buying your controller, is probably a $15 to $20 add-on. If you want to add it after the fact, it's probably a $30 to $35 add-on. In an effort to keep this project as affordable as possible, we found 2 plasma cutters on Amazon that have a selling price for under $170. So combined with that, you can get the Mini Metal with a plasma cutter for just around $400 or slightly over, depending upon which plasma cutter you choose. Well guys, there it is, the Mini Metal. If you'd like to build the Mini Metal, as stated before, there's a link in the description down below to plans that you can build your own Mini Metal. We also have a mini 3D print version. If you haven't seen that video, make sure to watch it. There's also a link below. If you guys like what we're doing and like to help out the channel, consider buying us a cup of coffee in the link below. And thanks a lot, guys. Stick around to the end. Make sure to like and subscribe.